So, welcome everyone to the Frequency Soul Collective. Beck McQuilty here. Happy Monday. We are here for our amazing testimonial call tonight. So, we have many, many testimonies to share with this incredible technology with the AO scan. So, it's really something that when we got our hands on it, we just knew we had to share it with the world so that we had the ability to help people take back the responsibility of their own health. We know that out there, it's sometimes hard to get answers as to what is really the root cause of what's going on in our bodies. And so I think it's really incredible that we have a tool, a bioresonance frequency tool, to be able to do exactly that. So I think I'll just really quickly share one of my testimonies. I have so many over the years. I could honestly sit here all night and tell you all the stories, but the one that comes to mind for me is the one for my mum that in 2021 she was put into hospital. She was very unwell. She had massive inflammation in the body. They knew that there was something going on. They knew that there was either like infection somewhere, a bacteria, or something in the body that they just couldn't find. And when I scanned her, one of the things that showed up was a tooth, and that there was an issue with the tooth. And she'd also had a CT scan where the radiographer had also flagged with her that if this tooth hadn't been looked at, it could be a potential abscess. Now, I spoke to the doctors in the hospital about that, and they really just kind of brushed me aside and said, look, even if that is it is an abscess, it's not our focus at the moment. We've got so many other things that we think it is before that. So fast forward 6 weeks, she'd been in hospital for, um, and she had six medical teams on board. So she had a gastroenterologist, an immunologist, all these ologists, cardiologists. She had all these different teams, and she had had every single test under the sun, from X-rays to CT scans to MRIs to they were even doing lumbar punches. They were doing bloods daily. You name it, they had tested her for it. They'd done endoscopies, colonoscopies. They could not find what was going on. And I continued to say to them, you need to do a cone beam scan because I really think she's got this abscess. But as I would scan her daily, and she wasn't very alert at the time, but I would get her to even just mumble or even count, and I would put the earphones on her so that I could do the emotional balance scan so that I could at least help her to balance her emotions out. Many days she would actually have massive emotional releases, which was a really good thing for her to do because we didn't want her holding in all of her emotions. But on other days, I remember one of the days saying to them, are you sure she's not septic? Because I could see sepsis on the scan. No, 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 we've tested her for that. How long ago? 2 days ago. Test her again. Sure enough, she was septic. They got onto it and they saved her life. Eventually, I think, gave up and pumped her up on prednisone because which is a steroid drug. They couldn't find what it was that was actually going on in her body. And they got her well enough at least to get out of hospital. I took her to the doctor. She got the cone beam scan, and sure enough, it was the exact tooth that I had flagged on the scanner that when we got the results back, it was an abscess. She was in theatre within 24 hours, and that I honestly do believe saved her life. So for me, it was about being able to get to the root cause of what was going on for her to be able to actually, in all honesty, save her life. So I will be forever grateful, if for nothing else, for that alone. So, but as I say, I have so many different testimonials that I could share, but we have many guests to share testimonials tonight as well. So, Katie, I might start with you. I will even do you a great service of unmuting you. Here we go. Unmute, unmute. Where are we? Or feel free to unmute yourself. And
Mm,
I would just love for you to share now
mm.
briefly. If you could please share a little bit around, whether, whatever it is within the technology or products that you have found that have really helped you and your family.
I have. lots of testimonials for myself as well, but I would like to share two specific ones tonight that I've asked that they can share on this call. One is from a man who is about 60 years old, and so he says he was put onto the core range after struggling with a sluggish digestive system. After only a few days, he was back to being comfortably regular, which if you know, you know, and began shifting unwanted weight. Now he's lost over 10 kilos. And he said his skin and joints are in much better condition because of the collagen as well. And all of that, so the weight loss and the collagen is helping his knees, which he's had a lot of trouble with. So he said he likes the taste and looks forward to his green juice every day.
Awesome. That is amazing. Thank you for sharing. Sorry, I muted myself whilst
That's
you were
okay.
talking. That's awesome. And I agree. Like, I know for myself, I used to have Crohn's disease. I
Mm-hmm.
healed my Crohn's disease many, many years ago, but with gut health, it's not a one-stop shop. You do
No,
this for 3 months and then it's over and then your gut's healed and you can live
especially
happily
not
ever
these
after.
days. Nothing's
No.
clean. So you have to be on top of it all the time. But just seeing the difference in his skin and even his eyes and like his energy levels, like he looks so much better and he feels so much better and he loves it and he does. If he doesn't get his green juice, I'm always in trouble. It's like, okay, sorry.
Absolutely. And I love that. And I think that, on different protocols that people go on for dieting, that's the other thing too, is that I was talking to someone the other day and they were on like a really high protein diet and it actually made them really sick because they weren't
Yeah.
getting enough fiber.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about our gut health drink is that you are getting the fiber and all of the things that you need in that drink to help support your body. So yeah, that's awesome. Did you have another story around something else to share?
Yes, I do. I have another one just around the scanner. And so it's sort of around gut health. But yes, it was a woman that I conducted a scan for. And so she says, I experienced the AO scanner, found it accurately showed symptoms and deficiencies that I had been struggling with for some time. It was nice to have some answers and a direction to move towards and have some changes happening. I would highly recommend a scan if you are struggling to find answers to a niggling health issue. So
Oh,
that was
that's cool.
interesting because it's true. Like sometimes you just need that, often intuitively we know what's going on inside of our body, but we need that almost like a clinical clarification and seeing it on the scanner. You're like, yes, exactly. It's like even the inner voice, the emotional balancing. Like the first time I read my inner voice scans, I burst into tears because I
Mm,
felt so recognized and seen. And I'm like, and it's by a computer. But it validates that thing that niggling health issue that you're like, yes, I knew it was that. And so just yeah, it just makes you feel a lot better about things.
yeah, absolutely. And as you're talking, I thought I'll just bring up the inner voice scan now. This
Yes.
is this is my one from today. Self-critical sounds about
Never.
right. Because I'm really driven in the work that I do, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking for ways to better my work, better myself,
Absolutely.
in all of the things. So to have something like this that you can actually, as you say, like you've actually got it on paper, you can read it. And I don't think I've ever seen a scan where someone said, "Oh no, that doesn't sound like me," unless it's
Mm.
subconscious. But so many times, like all the time, you read these and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this
Wow.
just it really actually just validates for people not only how they're feeling, but for us to be able to have those frequencies embedded into the music for people to listen to as the correction is also just phenomenal. So,
Right. And to literally balance it out, it's like
yeah.
you'd feel so much better
Yeah, absolutely. And I think being able to show people how it's related, how everything
physically.
starts with emotion and then how that then looks physically in our body
Mm.
just makes so much more sense to people and really
Yeah.
puts those pieces of the puzzle together for people. So that is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, Katie. Much appreciated.
No worries. Should I mute myself again?
Sure, that'd be great. Sounds good. All right, I'm going to call on Miss Paige Haynes now. Now, I'm going to stop sharing because I know that Paige is going to share her screen because she had a really cool scenario with one of her beautiful fur baby clients recently.
I
Um,
did. I
yeah, so
did.
that's
Yes.
awesome. Would you mind sharing for us?
Yeah, no worries at all. I was contacted by a lady. It was interesting actually because her ex-husband and I have been back and forth for a really long time about the scanner, and he's been wanting to come to events and things, and he had his own version of his own bioresonance machine, and but he thought of me when this was going on for them. And so he actually messaged, he rang me and he said, this is for my ex-wife, but can you tell me whether you think your machine will help with this? And I said, yeah, there's pretty much there's nothing it can't help with, but let's see. And obviously didn't make any promises. So I ended up speaking to the lady. This is little Dermot here. It's very hard to see him, but he's so cute. And his energy just drew me in straight away. But a couple of weeks ago, it was nearly 3 weeks actually, he started behaving erratically, and he was sort of doing this and looking up and like really just not himself, tail between his legs, wasn't coming to his mum and dad like he usually would. He's basically an emotional support dog. She takes him, she's a carer or works in a care support sort of role, and takes her dog with her everywhere. And so it was very, very strange for him. And she found that he had 2 burn marks in his ears, which they do not know how they got there. And she traced it back to actually, she said he started behaving erratically when she'd been to a breathwork session. And so from her perspective, she felt that perhaps she'd picked up something energetically. But so she took him to a vet to get the burns checked out and to try and work out what was going on. The vet had no idea. And when he first saw the burn, he's like, oh yes, I think I know. And then he saw that there was a second one in the exact same spot on the other ear. And it just made no sense at all. So obviously this is a situation where she's just like baffled. And to be honest, it was a bit freaky as well, because we were like, oh, this is weird. Anyway, the vet did all the tests. So we ran a vitals report, which is what you're seeing in front of you. And so I suggested to her to play the balancing harmonics, which is what comes up for the puppy dogs. But as we were going through, she said to me, can you tell me what's coming up? So a lot of food's coming up. And to me, I said to her, his digestive system was out because he was under so much stress. There was high cortisol, there was, which is understandable as well. We went through his chakras, and the funny thing was, it's not funny that it was out of balance, but her partner walked in the middle of this, and he did not agree with her having this scan. And he said, oh, he's just being arrogant. And I said, oh, that's really funny that you should say that. And I went down to the solar plexus area. And when there's an overactive solar plexus chakra, may be presented as having aggressive, arrogant, intimidating attitude, which was completely out of alignment for this dog. So regardless of whether he was just being arrogant or not, it was not in his nature to be that way. The other one that was a bit low was the heart chakra. And she had already said to me that he was emotionally distant, as well as unreceptive to love and affection. So every morning he would usually jump up on her chest after, in the morning and have cuddles and things, and he was just not having a bar of it. So it was breaking her heart, like as anyone with fur babies, like if things are off. So anyway, you can see the cortisol dysfunction there. But what really got her was that I went down and we were looking, and I said, oh, look, there's something going on with thyroid. That's what I can definitely see. And I can also see some stuff going on with liver. And she was like, oh my God, both of those came up in his test that the vet did. So that was cool. And then I said, okay, well, let's run some frequencies for him. So we went into the Cephi part, and this was the playlist that we did. So we're able to do an aura builder. So that's to help with his energetic energy, easily depressed, hallucinations, obsessive fears, anxiety, mood support, mastering stress. And these ones, particularly the bushflower essences, or they might be bark as well, I'm not sure which ones they are, but they were specifically around psychic attacks and clearing his energy field and all of those sorts of things. I also was running energetic clearing and shielding in another playlist for him. And we've got a few other homeopathics in there, which I searched up for what he was going through, nerve ease plus, and then skin inflammations, because the burns on his ears were not healing properly. So I literally messaged her the next day, and she said to me, oh my gosh, actually she messaged me first and said, oh my gosh, he's almost back to normal. I can't believe it. This has been over 3 weeks. And she just, I could feel the emotion in her because she was like, thank you so much for doing this work, because we really were out of luck. We didn't know where to turn. So thank you. I messaged her again today just to make sure that his healing was progressing, because this was last week. I think it was last Thursday. And she said, he's still not 100% back to himself, but we're still running those frequencies as well. But yeah, he is a lot better than he's ever been. So he has been. So he's getting there, you know, which was just amazing. So yeah, that was phenomenal, and just beautiful that we could, yeah, make a difference in the little fur baby's life, and just because his energy was just so gorgeous, and I was like, I just want to help him. Anyway, so yeah, that was amazing. More recently as well, just with all of these lurgies that have been going around, I was hit with the flu, and to be honest, I haven't been sick like that in a really long time. I don't know how I would have gotten through it without the scanner. I predominantly used the homeopathics, which is in our Cefi area. But for things like, I actually, oh gosh, this new version sometimes gets me a little bit, but anyway, anyone else? So down here, we've got the homeopathics here. You can see I've still actually got a little bit of a throat thing going on. So literally, when I had a sore throat going on, I went to symptoms and I searched sore throat, and I literally just went down. And when I found what it was, I ran a scan on it, and I won't do that because this is not my profile, but I was able to literally find out which, where is it now? So we had two actually, after intubation and just sore throat. So you can see here that there's a number of different frequencies in there, homeopathics in there. So I was scanning for it. My children had the sore throat, and I feel really bad about this because I didn't do it for them, but they had their sore throat for probably 4 or 5 days. And I was like, hell no, because I was already so far into this. I was like, I am not having a sore throat on top of all of this. And it shifted within, I reckon, 2 hours maybe of me running these frequencies. I then went on to the chest part and was able to clear a lot of the chest sort of stuff going on. I did throw myself into a healing crisis with the homeopathics as well. And that was when I went, okay, can I please have my, I went to my naturopath who does homeopathics. She then prescribed one for me, which I'd never heard of before. I hadn't seen it in a scanner before. And the very next day I ran my easy scan, which has all of my homeopathics in it. And that particular homeopathic came up. So, you know, I just confirmed the whole thing, and I sent it to her and went, oh my God. And then she's like, okay, to work on this next little bit, because it wasn't quite shifting. She's like, use your scanner for this on this one for half an hour, then use it on this one for half an hour, then use it on this one for half an hour, and then take this one. And I was like, okay. So like, she was working in tandem with me to help me through it. So I just don't know how I would have gotten through it, honestly, without it. So that's another little one for where we're at the moment. If anyone else is having horrendous things with the lurgy at the moment, then that was something personally that just, literally got me through, which was amazing.
That's awesome. And I love that we have the capability to have all of the homeopathics on their page and be able to just imprint frequencies into water or sugar pillules, or, you know, for people when they do get unwell, you can make a little bit of a concoction of, you know, honey and lemon juice and garlic and all of the good stuff, apple cider vinegar, stir it all up, sit it on the scanner, imprint some frequencies that are specific around, you know, your immune health, and drink that down. It's just so much more powerful. So that is absolutely sensational. Thank you so much for sharing.
Welcome.
Awesome. Mari, I'm going to get you to unmute yourself if you don't mind. I'm just going to share my screen again, just so that, you know, anything that you may share, I may even just, you know, go through on the scanner as we go. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi everyone. Okay, for me, last month my partner he had a fusion in his back and his lower back because he broke his back. So they fused his back or whatever. So he's always walking around with pain. And he called me, I think it was on the 16th of last month, and he said to me, listen, I've got so much pain, I can't even move. So I went and I did a comprehensive scan just on his spine, and it came up that, but he said, it's like in the middle of his back that it hurts.
Mhm.
And then after I've done the scan, it showed that it's actually here in the back of his neck where the spine starts. And I said to him, okay, you gotta take some of the that product that we have, the pain product that you spray on.
Oh yeah.
I said,
Relief?
yeah, yes. No, not sleep.
Relief.
Pain relief, yes.
Mhm.
And I said to him, just spray it there. And he was arguing with me and saying to me, no, it's the pain is there. It's not there. The pain is where his fusion was. And I
Mhm.
said to him, just do what I'm freaking telling you, mate. And then he did it. And then the following day, he said to me, well, his back feels much better. And 2 days later, so I kept on running the scans. 2 days later, all the scans except where the fusion is came out green, number 5.
Wow.
And I called him and I said to him, how's your back? And he said to me, I don't have pain at all. It's good
That's
as gold.
sensational.
So I was definitely so impressed with it. And even him, because when he gets home as well, I would put him on the bed and put the patches on him so
Yes.
that he can have a little bit of a relax with the wand. So we treat him just before he goes to site, and then he takes his little pain relief with him, and I do remote scans on him. So yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. And then I also had a friend, she lives in Rockhampton. So
Mhm.
she'd done that wealth and abundance thing with us.
Oh yeah.
That, yeah. And her results, she found another job. She became a assistant manager after those 3 sessions that we did. And then she called me on the Saturday and she said to me, hey, can you do some frequencies for me? Because I'm looking for a new rental. I applied for the rental, and we all know how bad rentals is these days to get a rental. So I said to her, okay, and I ran scan frequencies on her until the Monday, and she called me on the Monday and she got the house.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
yeah, so I've got a lot of little testimonials like that, like people that applied for a job and they're nervous and they don't know whether they're going to get that job, and then I send them frequencies and it just works out for them. So
I
yeah.
love that. Well done. That's brilliant. I love what when you're talking about your partner before, particularly around, what's going on pain-wise, getting to the root cause of pain can be difficult for people if they don't know. Like I remember having an issue with my calf muscle, which I've never had before. And I went to my osteopath and she had a bit of a fiddle with it and it kind of felt better for a couple of hours and then the pain came back. So the
Mm.
next time I went, I actually ran a scan. And when I ran the scan, it actually came up that I had an issue in my ankle and also an issue in my knee. And so when I went back to her and I showed her that, then she was actually able to target what was actually going on. And I just wanted to show you how, you don't have to scan the whole body. Let's say I have a sore back and something's going on, or something's going on in my neck and I've got a bit of a sore neck, which is what I have at the minute. I can actually look at, this first scan that we do looks at just the frequency, whether it's in or out of range. And anything with a 1 or a 9 that's red or orange, means that it is out of balance. So you can see here, for example, that mine here is a 9. We weren't able to bring the frequency of my C2 vertebrae back into balance. So if I click on that, I can actually see exactly where in the body that actual vertebrae sits, which, for me, being able to show a client or being able to show a family member or a chiropractor or an osteopath or whoever it is that I'm going to, exactly what's out in my body without having to worry about the guesswork is just so powerful. And again, there's, the C7, it's showing you that My C2 and my C7 are out. The rest doesn't look so bad, but that's just such a great tool for me to be able to show to my chiro. And then when you're talking about, sending frequencies to people, the great thing is that we work with scalar wave technology that travels faster than the speed of light. And so when somebody needs something across the other side of the world or country or suburb, we're actually able to provide that for them without them actually being connected to something. And it's so incredibly effective. I mean, I just love it. But if we look at, for example, the subtle energy frequency imprinter, what we call Cephi, we can actually be creating playlists of frequencies, up to 15 frequencies. We have a whole library of hundreds and hundreds of frequencies that we can share, whether they be physical or emotional. We have the Bach flowers that Paige was talking about before, homeopathics, chakras, etc., where we can actually then create a playlist of up to 15 frequencies and then create it in different names. So, we have ones for detox. But if we look at one here as an example, like Mari was talking about before with abundance, here are some of the ones that we have added in there, the frequencies to be able to send to people. So energetic clearing, love, forgiveness and gratitude, inner peace, abundance, wealth and success, wealth, prosperity, success, aura builder, energetic shield, memory, clarity and focus and clarity, mastering stress, etc., etc. We've got, Serato, wild oat, the root chakra, and also some homeopathic. So it's really phenomenal to be able to create these playlists to not only just play for ourselves and to send to ourselves, but to send to others as well. So thank you so much, Mari, for sharing. That is so awesome. Amanda, all the way in Melbourne, sunny, beautiful, freezing cold Melbourne, Australia. I'll get you to unmute when you can, and welcome you to the call tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
No worries. Welcome everyone. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I just thought I've got a lot of different testimonials because I work with it with clients as well. But the main one I kind of wanted to share tonight was when I actually first got the scanner in lockdown. I think it was in nearly August, September 2021. And it was in the time when we in Melbourne couldn't leave our houses. And if we wanted to go to any medical appointments, we had to actually get a letter from the doctor to be able to drive in our car. And my mum at the time had a fall, and she lives, say, 50 minutes away from me. And so she had a fall and she fractured part of her humerus on one of her, I think it was the right arm. And she'd had a fall on the concrete going for a walk. And I guess at that time, I just got the scanner and I was like, oh, or maybe I can scan something and see what's happening. So originally I started giving her pain relief because I thought, oh, she's in a lot of pain before she could get to the doctors. And then when she got to the doctors, I was scanning her and she went and got an x-ray. So the humerus area I think in the comprehensive scan, there's an area where you can scan the skeleton, I think the arms and the shoulders, that sort of thing. And that showed up 9 out of 9 in that area. And she came home and she said, she looked at my scan and looked at the x-rays and she's going, oh, it showed up in the scan that you sent me. What is this thing? So that was initially, I was like, oh, wow, that was my, just got the scanner, we're not meant to be diagnosing, of course, but it was kind of cool just to see, oh, it did show up on the scanner. And then she had the x-ray and there it was. So I sort of just basically kept scanning her and optimizing her mainly is the remedy that I used, just to get frequencies sent to that area. And the other frequencies I would use is the inner voice to help her with her emotions and just pain-free healing and stamina. And I think I, just did that, sent frequencies, scanned her, did the inner voice. And she was meant to take about 12 weeks to take off the plaster and recover. But she got the plaster off within 6 to 7 weeks. And the surgeon was like so impressed how quickly she healed, and especially if she was in her 80s. So that was great. One, to sort of see some proof and see, you know, something happen with the scanner when I first got it. Two, I couldn't access her without a doctor's certificate to say I could go in my car and drive her. So it was a good way to also, you know, help people from a distance in that time as well. So yeah, that was kind of my, you know, my first sort of, let's see what this scanner can actually do with, you know, something that had actually happened from a distance.
Love that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share that one and how cool it is to be able to look into the scanner without really diagnosing, but just sort of saying, oh, what area, what's actually going on here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as you were talking, I actually just went into our subtle energy frequency imprinter, which is our library of, you know, hundreds and hundreds of different frequencies. And, you know, as you say, like this is just one section of it. And for you to be able to utilize that pain-free healing and stamina for her, you know, is so powerful. One of my new favorite ones that I really love in the scanner, is that the company has also created playlists where we don't even necessarily have to create our own. And one of my favorites is this one here, the new one, which is called Dance Again, because it's about relieving pain, and inflammation from the body. So you can see so many of the different frequencies here, including so many of the homeopathics. One of the frequencies that I love running in any playlist that we create is the complete frequency set, because then if we've missed something, like there could be something really going on in our body that we may not even be aware of, by adding in the complete frequency set here to a playlist and running that to myself or running it for a client or a family member, allows the technology to pick up on what that person is really needing and to be able to send that to them. So this one I'm absolutely loving. I'm running it every single day. I've had sort of like real tightness and probably inflammation in my hips. So I've been running that every day for that, as well as laying on our PEMF chakra crystal mat as well, which has been awesome. So thank you, Amanda, for sharing that. And what an incredible blessing for you to be able to help your mum, particularly in that time when, you know, others would feel just so helpless because you can't really go anywhere. There's not a great deal that you could do to help her because you can't really get out and about. And you really had that incredible tool in your hands. So that was brilliant. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and I mean, I find it's like, you know, peace of mind, because
Yeah.
I've got elderly parents and they're always on the phone now saying, oh, I'm not breathing properly, or I've got a bladder infection, or I've had a fall. So I'm constantly sending and scanning, and it's great that we've got a tool that we can do that with.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you. Thank you. That's brilliant. That's amazing. I'm the same with my mom. Like, just sometimes we feel helpless with how we can really help them, but this tool really does, you know, by being able to utilize this bioresonance technology, you know, in our anywhere, you know, wherever we are at home, you know, in an office, anywhere in the world, just really not only gives you your own power back, but that ability to be able to help other people, which I absolutely love. So that's awesome. I'm going to invite Bronwyn on now to share a story as well, because she's just got a new little grandbaba. So, Bronnie, I'll ask you to just unmute and would love to hear you share your story.
Oh. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me here. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, I do have a new baby in our family. So it's my fifth grandchild. And so his name is Baker Reed. So he was born 3 days ago, actually. And so the AO scanner wasn't around for my children. Mine, well, I still have children, but they're adults now. And I still use it when I get an occasional SOS. But when the babies have come along, I've been able to convince, because I have 4 sons, so my daughter-in-laws, to send me the ultrasound photo and do a recording of the heartbeat. So then I run an inner voice. So I'm able to actually and play that gorgeous little heartbeat and into the scanner, and then run some scans and see. So it's actually separate then to the mum. And so I was calling the baby Rainbow Spirit. It's what the mum wanted me to call. Kelsey wanted me to call Bubba. And throughout the pregnancy, and it was really beautiful to be able to run the the vitals, the body systems, and the comprehensive, and anything that might show up to bring in balance, but watching the energies of everything coming into alignment. So when Bubba was born, I'm able to also took a photo of the hospital room and place that into the scanner to spaces and objects to do an energy clearing and clear any fear and trauma and memories or energies, plasma energies in that space for them. So the baby's come along. As soon as he was born, it was really beautiful to see the difference in the scanners as well. So mums, I'm able to broadcast frequencies to mum as well in the multi-scan. So I also had my son Fraser, so the three of them in the room to see where they're at with their energies. And when Bubba was born, I noticed that the frequencies all just came into balance beautifully, the shift. So it was all of a sudden all his own and not just all his mum's energies as well. And yeah, so that was just really amazing. So he's only 3 days old. It's one of those things because I know we're not supposed to really change the details once we input it into the scanner. So he's 48 centimeters. He's no longer just a little, tiny bean, and updating with his photo and his actual name now as well. There were some areas that I use numerology and different things in my other modalities. So he's a 777, been on the 25th of the 7th, 2025. And everything that's showing up in his scans at the moment, it's really interesting to me that I'm noticing it's all in this area with the 777. So everything's been to do with his, I had it actually written it all down. And they're showing up for him that majorly was either really high or low in the scanner was to do with the head area. And I actually I'm a real note taker, so I had lots of little things, but the crown chakra, perfect recall, super memory, so those sorts of things were showing up in the energetic, with the reach and quantum affirmations and doing the scans. But baby's well, mum's well, and he does have an issue with his kidney. I've been able to help him remotely with that as well, but the kidney did show up as overactive at the moment as well, but it's really reassuring for me to see when I'm doing the scans what might be out of alignment, just the numbers changing and shifting as we go, and being able to assist them in that way and helping mum with her emotions and with her healing as well.
That is so amazing
yeah,
and so powerful as well, because there is so much to having a baby, right? Not just for mum and bub, but for dad in the room as well, and being able to clear and shield the energy in the space of where he's actually being birthed, and to send that space frequency. I love that as well, Bronnie. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so aura builder, of course the energy clearing, but definitely the aura builder was a really good one, and the EMF shield, because they're just surrounded by so much EMF. If there's time, Beck, I just wanted to also mention one of my clients. So she sent me an SOS. She'd had an irritation in her eye and thought she'd get it double checked by going to the doctors, and luckily she did. So she had to have an emergency operation on her retina. She almost lost her eyesight, but they believe she was going to lose her eyesight. It was highly unlikely that they'd be able to save it. So straight away, I got her voice recording, was able to, through the inner voice, do the harmonics for her to listen to, with some instructions to calm down, with some breath, to really give herself permission to receive. And then so she listened to the music while I also ran the scans for her with regards to her eyesight and with the homeopathics and the body system comprehensive. Everywhere in the scans were spot on for her. In the right eye, exactly what was wrong with the eye was highlighted, and the inflammation. So I ran the scanner just 24/7 for her while she listened to the music, and she actually went to the eye doctor the next day, and he was amazed in the recovery that she had already been receiving, and that she would in fact keep her eyesight. So that was amazing to be able
That's
to assist her
brilliant.
in that way.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's massive. And I think that what we are seeing is so much accelerated healing. Like I know when my daughter broke her elbow and I was able to run frequency for her daily, we took her break from an 8 week in a cast down to 4. Like we were able to halve that. So the power of frequencies is just so incredible. And particularly, something as serious as eyesight, you dealing with that with a client that, to be able to assist her in that way is just phenomenal. So that's awesome. Thank you for
Mm.
sharing, Bronnie.
You're welcome.
Awesome. And lucky last but not least, I'm going to invite beautiful Bryony on to share what she would like to share about how she utilizes the scanner. She does utilize it for her entire family, but particularly for her beautiful daughter Estelle, who's just had a birthday. So, Bryony, welcome. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your story with us tonight.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We would love to hear how you utilize the technology or any of the products really with your family and with Estelle.
I am so creative with the scanner and I don't even use all of my ideas. I get so excited about everything that I can do. The number one thing for me with Estelle is peace of mind, because she does have Down syndrome. She has had heart surgery, and our days used to be filled with appointments, and not necessarily medical appointments, although some of them were the doctor's appointments, but going to kinesiologist, the chiropractor, the osteopath, everything, and that was to give me peace of mind. And then when I got the scanner, I found, well, I was able to scan her and just see for myself what's going on in her body. What does she need assistance with today? And even some of the supplements that come up, like I put quite a lot of supplements in, and therapies and affirmations, everything, it to even clearings. I have access consciousness clearings in there. And it's funny what comes up as suggestions for her, even for my fur baby. Sometimes they'll just need a clearing to run and loop in the background. Or, I have a cut up onion in there, and, we might have been around people, or we go to her gym twice a week around snotty little kids. And so I can see, even if she doesn't have something just yet, I can see when something might be coming. It's suggesting it even through the supplements. It's saying, put half an onion out tonight just to really nip this in the butt,
Mm.
which I found really fascinating. And even, when she couldn't talk properly, it gave me a lot of peace of mind to kind of understand her body a little bit more, as to what's going on, if she's hurting, or if she's saying, I'm hurting here, I'm not feeling well, and I can look into it. But they get scanned every night. I think they get scanned a good couple of times a day, ideally an easy scan. But these days with the multi-scan, it makes it so easy. So if I've slept in, I'm running late with everything, I can hit the multi-scan button. I know I've scanned everybody. And then if I can fit it in, I'll do an AO scan. And she loves doing her scan. And that will quickly tell me some quick supplements or homeopathics that she might need in that moment. And I can quickly imprint them into her smoothie, or put a supplement in her smoothie as I'm making it, run her music. And it also gives me a bit of an idea as to what's actually going on in her body as well. So it's just very insightful. So that's a quick way, thing I do for the family every day, because sometimes it's hard to get everyone scanned and do separate scans all the time, but I know I try to get an easy scan in for everyone if I can. But if not, like on the weekends, I don't want to spend all my time scanning. I click the multi-scan,
Yeah.
and I know I've got everyone covered.
Definitely. And how powerful is it to, particularly with supplementation, when it comes to not only ourselves, but particularly our little ones? It's like, what do you give them? There are so many different options as to what you give them and what don't you give them. So to be able to put your supplements into this technology and it to scan your body and tell you what supplementation your body is needing every day, I think
Mm.
is so powerful.
And also not to overload her body
Yeah.
too with too many supplements. And then if there is something that I think, well, I shouldn't actually give her either the adult dose or I shouldn't give her this at all, I can copy it into some water or into her smoothie. And same with the little dog.
Yeah.
If I know that she can't have, for example, the wintergreen essential oil, but it's come up, well, I can copy it into her water and at least she's getting the frequency of it, but she's not getting the toxic load from that for a little fur baby.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I really love that. And
Mm,
that's the thing, there are so many different ways to be able to help ourselves. Talking of fur babies, I don't know about your little fur baby, but mine, after she's had a bath, absolutely hates the hair dryer.
yeah.
And so I started actually drying her with our terahertz wand. And the ironic thing about that is the power and the healing power of that wand is so phenomenal. But for my pup who hates the sound, hates the feeling, and yet I use the terahertz wand on her and she absolutely loves it. I don't even have to hold her. She will just stand there or sit there whilst I actually dry her with that. She's getting the goodness from the terahertz, but she's also getting dry at the same time.
Mm, yeah, Lulu doesn't quite love it just yet. But yeah, she does benefit from it. And I try to give her the structured water when I
Yeah.
get around to having the time to do the structured water every day. And I do notice with the structured water, not only do I drink more, but I notice Estelle drinking more water. She will
Excellent.
take more in when I have the structured water as
Can you tell
well.
us a little bit how you do that?
I usually fill up, I think it's a 5 liter glass container that has a little tap on it. I erase it with the erase button. I imprint it for 20 seconds with the simultaneous water list. And then I will hold the terahertz wand over it for 2 minutes and structure the water.
That's
And I can
awesome.
really tell the difference. Like the water feels lighter to
Yeah.
drink, and you want to drink it, especially when it's just done. I do try to get a couple of the Solex Gold in there as well, just to help it hold the frequencies. And
Yeah, I love that. One thing that's been a pattern coming up for clients of mine lately is that they're drinking heaps of water, but they're not absorbing it. And
mm,
so being able to structure your water with a terahertz wand, literally, as you say, for a minute or two is so beyond powerful. Like I know for my mum, she's almost 82. She doesn't drink a huge amount of water, but when I make her drink water here, I will actually imprint frequencies into the water first of whatever her body is needing. I'll then structure the
mm,
water with the terahertz wand. And even if it is just a glass or two, I know that that alone is so much more powerful than her going
mm,
off and drinking a liter of any other water. So, and
yeah.
the best thing about it, it's free. It doesn't cost us
Mhm.
anything to do it. As long as we're having good filtered water, it's free. So I absolutely love that. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, that's okay. 100%.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. And we just have so many stories that, we could share, and we've had so many tonight. So thank you to all of those of you who did share with us. We really, really appreciate it because we do know that this technology is life-changing and it is really giving you the power to take control back of your own health, because our allopathic world has definitely got its place, but the expense, the time, the busyness, it just is not always possible. And for us to be able to scan our bodies in real time, look at not only what's going on from a frequency perspective, whether it's in balance or out of balance, but also have the ability to bring our bodies back into homeostasis. is so powerful. So if this resonates with you and you're on this call tonight, you haven't experienced the technology before, and this is something that you'd really love to experience, please reach out to the person who has invited you to this call, because we would love, love, love to share this technology with you. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. It's been so amazing to have each and every one of you here. I'm going to stop the recording.